Hey guys, it's Lainey, and today is Top 5 Wednesday. Today's Top 5 Wednesday topic is our top recommendations for new readers. This was a struggle. This was a struggle for, I think, everybody. I think it was a little difficult of trying to figure out what a new reader is. To me, a new reader is more so someone who has come to me, a friend, a coworker, a family member. They would tell me, what would you recommend I read? So my new reader is a reader who is older, like my age. I'm 22, so maybe in my age range, that don't read on the regular, and they want to be exposed to more different titles, different books. So I put together 5 books from different genres across the board that I think can speak to everybody. And for this, I'm not putting them in a countdown this time around because I don't think I could count these down. So these are my top 5 recommendations I would recommend to someone who, if they came up to me, and I know they don't read maybe as avidly as I do, and they asked, what would you recommend? So these are the books I would recommend to new readers. I would recommend Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. While this wasn't my favorite book I ever read, I did enjoy it. And I think this is a great bridge to start out at for maybe this type of YA genre, because the pictures, it's a great combination of photography and story. So that's kind of why I put this one in my top 5 recommendations for new readers, because it has combinations of different types of storytelling. You got the story and the prose and the meat, but you also have the pictures that go along so well with the story. They keep you interested and you keep on reading. Another one of my top 5 is a book I don't physically have. I have it on my Kindle and then I have it at home, and that is The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. I've talked about this book a lot, and it's one of my favorites. I read it first when I was in high school, so I'm sure there are some other high schools that have also read this book for the required reading. This was one of the few required readings in high school that I thoroughly enjoyed. I absolutely loved reading this book, and I think others would too. It's kind of historical. It takes place during the Vietnam War, but it's not a war story, and I've said this before. It's historical and modern at the same time. It's old and it's new at the same time. Another book I would recommend for a new reader is The Archived by Victoria Schwab, which I just finished over the weekend. I did very much enjoy this book, and I think others would too. It is kind of contemporary, but not contemporary. It's kind of paranormal, but it's not paranormal. So you can't really compare this book to, like, say, The Hunger Games or Twilight. It's like in its own separate category that's wonderful and great. I see this book first as a mystery novel before I see it as, like, paranormal and magical and mystical and all those other things that have elements in this book. It is a mystery novel, and I think others would enjoy learning the mystery behind the archive. This next book is for people who have seen Hunger Games. Maybe they've even read the books because of the Hunger Games, or even now they're getting into Divergent for the same reasons. If they are looking for another book like that, I would recommend them Legend by Marie Lu. I actually did recommend this book, not so much recently, but probably the end of last year. One of my friends from home texted me, and she's like, "Hey, I'm at Barnes & Noble. What do you think I should get?" And I said Divergent, and she said, "I already have those books." So I'm like, okay, if you kind of like that, you'd probably really like Legend. It has the same, I guess, heroine versus the government type of story, of course, but this one's also very interesting because it takes place in the United States, and it's so very blatant that it is or was the United States. So I think the setting is very interesting. The action, of course, is very good. I know that's not true for everybody, but I think fans of Divergent and Hunger Games people have seen the movies but maybe want to get into that kind of like reading, like books wise, should definitely check out this book. And the last book I would recommend is my all-time favorite book. It is a contemporary coming-of-age novel, and that book is The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Eugenides. I read this in high school. I loved it. I loved this book. It is just so interesting, and it's straight up contemporary coming of age. There's no magic in it. There's no dystopian in it. It's a great book for someone to read. It's just such an intoxicating novel with so much heart, and you feel for the characters, and it has the most interesting point of view I have ever read, and it will always be my favorite point of view. It's kind of told in a wee point of view where it's told through the eyes of the neighbor boys, who are not so much like boyishly obsessed with the Lisbon sisters, who are virgin suicides. It might have been published in 93, and I don't consider it a classic, but it's still modern. I'm sorry if there's a lot of noise right now. I kept my window open because I felt like it. It's just one of those books you have to read. That's it for my Top 5 Wednesday. I hope you guys have a great Wednesday, and I will see you guys later. Bye!